Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? How is everybody feeling? Hopefully wonderful and restful and all the good things. And if you're not feeling good, if you're able to just sit with yourself and just be in the present moment, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. One of the things that helps me get through is the 8 limbs of yoga. And this is why I'm on here talking about it. I've been practicing yoga on and off since it was introduced to me when I was in college. So this was what? Almost 20 years ago? But I became more consistent with yoga during the pandemic. Yoga is very interesting because it came to me during a stressful time in my life and I needed guidance, I needed structure. And it just randomly just came to me and I started practicing it back in when I was in college. And then life happens and I would practice yoga periodically, not as consistent as I do now. But then when the pandemic hit, it was very stressful and I needed to come back to myself. So yoga is more than just the poses. However, I am going to be talking about number 3 of the 8 limbs of yoga, which is the Asana posture, or Asana, which is physical postures, and number 4, Pranayama, which is breath control. So, although those components are parts of the 8 limbs of yoga, that's not what yoga is all about. Yoga consists of many things. Yoga is life. Yoga is a practice, it's a way of being on and off the mat. When you practice yoga on the mat, it helps you have this resilience where when you go out into the outside world, you move differently. You move differently when you become more self-aware, when you have that patience with yourself and get to know yourself. And honestly, I wish more of us did that. It's beneficial for everyone in many different ways. And when you practice yoga, it doesn't have to be the same as someone else. You want to do yoga of what works for you, of what works for your lifestyle. But you can incorporate yoga a part of your life. And you probably already do that and you don't even realize it. Now, I did speak about the 2 previous limbs, yama, which is your ethical standards towards the world, and the niyama, the yama and niyama. Niyama is more of your personal observance, self-discipline, your inner practice. So if you want to watch those 2 videos, or actually there's probably about 4 videos, because the yama has 5 different parts and the niyama also has 5 different parts. So I did make videos. I have a playlist about the 8 limbs of yoga that I am in the process of creating, just so it's a little bit more organized on my YouTube, since I have about 300 videos. But today's video is about Asana, which is the 3rd limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, and Pranayama, which is the 4th limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. Now, the Asana is the postures. So when we're sitting down, we're practicing different poses, and you're able to sit with yourself. That is a part of your inner world, right? You're able to sit with yourself and check in with yourself. And then of course you can you do yoga on and off the mat. That's what yoga is about. Not just let me just move my body around, although it is a part of it. You can find stillness through movement, and you can find movement through stillness. I'll give you an example. When you're moving around and you're finding the stillness within yourself, you're not forcing yourself to go anywhere beyond that, anywhere beyond your mat. And then when you're sitting down for meditation and you're just being still, you're allowing things in your mind to flow, to move. So you want to get to that state of mind where, and I'll talk more about this because there's another limb that goes along with all of these. That's one of the cool things about the 8 limbs of yoga. They all have their separate thing, but they all work together. So with the asana, when you are practicing these postures, yeah, you are strengthening yourself, your body, but you're also strengthening your mind. You're creating resilience. You're rewiring yourself. You are changing the way you move on the mat, but guess what? That's going to make you see the changes that you can do out in the world. You move differently on the mat, you move differently out in the real world. I'm not making this up. You have to give yourself a chance, practice it, embody it, right? Embody what you practice with your yoga practice. Look at my hands. I'm sorry, I'm being a goofball today. Because, I did some yoga, right? So I'm feeling good. Yoga, movement in general, I like to say to my clients, is like coffee for your body. It just gets your body going. But when you're practicing the yoga and you're allowing your body and your mind to come together, you become more in sync. You become more in sync. Number 4 of the 8 limbs of yoga is pranayama, breath control. So just like how you have the asana and movement practice, you have breathing practice. A lot of us are not breathing properly. A lot of us are not. Oftentimes, I will catch myself and make sure I am breathing fully because there are times when I'm not. I notice if I am feeling a little anxious, I'm probably breathing a little bit more to my chest. I'm not fully breathing. When you're practicing pranayama, there's for one, there's a lot of different techniques. You might have yoga instructors teach you deep breathing, or you might be doing nadi shodhana where you're breathing back and forth between your left and right nostrils. You might do what's called box breathing when you're inhaling 4 seconds, holding 4 seconds, exhaling 4 seconds, holding 4 seconds. There's many types of breathing exercises. All of them are beneficial. Deep breathing, I find, is very calming. So let's say you're breathing deeply in and out through your nose. Maybe you're in traffic. Again, you're not just doing pranayama practices on the mat. This is on and off the mat. Let's say you're out in traffic. Let's say you're in line somewhere. A lot of us, we might get impatient. We're still human beings. We're still having the experience of, no matter how peaceful anyone is, you're still a human being. It's okay to be multidimensional and not all one thing. You're not going to be, I'm all peaceful and la la la, just blissful, just nonchalant about everything. No, that's not how life works. However, you get to a point where you control how you respond to certain things. So if you're having a human experience, right? You're out in the world. There might be traffic. There might be things people do that's going to get on your nerves. People say and do rude things. Because like I said in a few videos, the human connection is really disconnecting. So you're going to come across things that people do that you may not do, but you still have the control to respond the best way possible, right? Sometimes you need to breathe. Breathing has helped me a lot. I can get to a point where I might be a little sassy, and honestly, this has happened over time, maybe as I've gotten older, But the reason why is because you can lose patience with people, right? They might say something, they might say or do things that's disrespectful, and you might have given them grace before. You might have given them like, okay, but there is a point, because everybody has their limits. I don't care how nice and peaceful you are. Everybody has their limits. There might be a time you might be at your breaking point and you want to snap. But you know what? Breathe. Breathe. At the end of the day, we can't control people's actions. We can't control how they show up. We can't control how they treat others, right? We just can't. It does not matter how you move. You are responsible for the way you move. You're not responsible for the way other people move. You can't set those expectations on them. People, we're all going to do what we're going to do. You know, we are very complex human beings. We're complex beings. Being a human being, that's just the way it is. But when you take the moment to breathe and allow things to flow, guess what? You are in control. You have the power to calm your mind. We can't put that pressure or anything on anyone else. They have to choose to show up the way that they want to choose to show up. But breathing really helps to calm the mind. You're sending oxygen to your brain. You are calming your nervous system. And just having that moment of listening to your breath, listening to yourself, we don't really have, or we don't create the time to do that. There's so much noise, right? Noise everywhere. Take the time to listen to yourself. And if you find that listening to yourself is challenging, put some music on. Calming music. And breathe. So I will create more videos because, like I said, I didn't want to put all of the limbs together in one video because I find that would just be too long. But I hope this helps. Asana is the third limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. Pranayama is the 4th limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. They're both separate, but you know how they go together, right? So again, all of the limbs, they're separate, but they also come together. So think of puzzle pieces, right? Sometimes you can look at puzzle pieces and you can identify what it is, but then you put it together and it's like, wow, okay, all right. So I hope this was helpful in some way for anyone who is looking to create a more balanced life, for anyone who is looking to deepen their yoga practice and take it not just focusing on the asana part, but incorporating all of the limbs together. I will talk to you in the next video, and I hope you have a lovely day, evening, or whatever time you're watching this. Bye-bye.